Okay, so it's a great honor to invite Mr. Theodore Gray to our factory in Jiaxing. And Mr. Theodore Gray is the co-founder of Wolfram Research, right? And I know that you own one of our products, the CO2 laser fiber laser cutter. So what's your user's experience when you use it?
Pure joy. I mean, the CO2 laser cutter, it's one of your smaller machines. It's not some big fancy thing, but I can make so many things with it so fast that I have written a book about tools recently, and in the book about tools, I have a picture of my laser cutter, and I say, this is my favorite tool in the whole world. My whole life, my favorite tool I've ever had is that laser cutter, because it's so so capable compared to other things. Like, I have 3D printers. I don't use the 3D printers because they're slow and they're ugly and they don't make nice parts. The laser cutter is fast. I get beautiful, clean, clear parts out of it that are exactly what I need. And yeah, I mean, I've given many interviews. There's a magazine podcast series that every few years asks me, and what they do is they go and they ask people, what are your 4 favorite tools? And I could only use the laser cutter once, but I wanted to tell them, they've interviewed me twice, and the first time I said laser cutter, that's my favorite tool, and the other 3 I don't even know. The second time I couldn't say laser cutter again, so I had to think of 4 other tools. But yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of laser cutters.
Okay, good to know that. So that's the best right now, the best tools.
I mean, I think if I had a big fiber metal cutting machine, I would like it even more, probably. But the CO2 laser is what I have. It's about as big as I can justify for what I use it for. So I'm very happy with it.
Okay, thank you. And recently we have some new products, and the handheld fiber laser welder is one of our products. So we want to know your opinion towards our fiber laser welder. Like, do you know, in promoting this kind of product, do you have any suggestions or opinions towards social media?
Yeah.
Or
so I have not used a fiber laser welder, but I have used almost every other kind of welder that there is. Stick welders, wire feed welders, gas shielded wire feed, TIG welders.
Wow.
They're all powerful. We've built things with all these different welding technologies. I have a stepson who's was interested in learning to weld, so we tried out all the different kinds of welding. And they're very powerful. And even oxyacetylene welding, which is difficult, try it, see how it is. And they all have good points and bad points, but one thing is they're all sort of messy and complicated, and you need gas cylinders and
some auxiliary tools too.
Yeah, it's messy. It's just messy. It works, but it's messy. And at least what I've seen of the laser welding is that it seems like it would have a lot of the same kind of advantages as the laser cutting does, where it's just you just plug it in, you just need power. It's clean, it's fast, it just and it gets the job done. And then you have more or less a usable product. You don't have to chip off a lot of slag. You don't have to do a lot of post-processing. It's definitely something I would like to try. And the fact that I think most laser welders also, you can have an attachment and turn it into a laser rust remover. That also seems like a really useful thing. I mean, cleaning up metal parts, getting the rust off before you weld them or after you weld them it's just really irritating. We have all kinds of surface prep tools and wire brushes and but none of them are really very satisfying to use compared to the laser rust removal, which seems like it would be a really nice alternative.
Yes, it has a lot of advantages compared with traditional traditional welders, right?
Right. I mean, to turn it from something where you have to do a lot of preparation and a lot of training and practice, and the first time you try to MIG weld or TIG weld, you're going to mess it up. You're going to ruin a lot of metal. it seems like the laser welder has the potential to be much more straightforward, and you're more likely to get it right the first time.
Yes, agree with you. And we know you have a group of fans in social media, so we want to hear your voice, like in advertising in social media about this fiber laser welder. Do you have any suggestion for us?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if my fans are the kind of people who need fiber lasers. I think they're the sort of people who would want to have a fiber laser because it's fun.
Yeah.
And someday when they're cheap enough, maybe I'll get them.
I mean, there's.
I think.
Yes, I mean, there's. We also have our social media like YouTube, like Facebook, or Instagram. So if we wanted to promote our fiber laser welder, so do you have any suggestions for us?
I think what I would do is take it to different people, let them have it for a week. Different people who make those sorts of videos. Give one to Jamie Heineman and Adam Savage. People like that.
Let them
there's
innovate.
all these different YouTube channels. Find them, find those people, loan them a fiber welder for a week or two, and see what they say about it.
Wow.
Because
that's a good idea.
I think they're going to like it. And I mean, I suppose if they have enough followers, you can give them one, and then they'll really like it.
That's really cool. And towards our fiber laser cutter, as we just seen, so do you think any industries should we focus on?
Well, I think so talking about fiber laser welding, so I feel like laser welding is on the threshold of where it's going to be cheap enough that people like me could just buy one. Not yet, it's still too expensive, but and when I say people like me, I mean people who have a home shop, they build things, but it's not like a factory. It's like they're building things for themselves. A farmer who repairs their own equipment, for example. Every farmer has more than one welder, because they're always having to repair and weld things. And they might even have a pretty nice welder. Someday they should have a laser welder. And we're not quite there yet, but I think that's where there's great market potential, is not factories producing, volume production, but just people who have one in their shop because it's a good technology. For fiber laser cutting, those machines are so big, and that nobody is going to have one at home just to play with.
Yes.
I would very much like to have one at home to play with, but that's not reasonable. Companies with factories, big, organization, not a private individual just interested in the technology. So it's much more of a sort of a B2B, business to business marketing, where I think, social media is maybe less important, and it's more about personal contacts and trade shows. And, for a factory to buy one of these machines, it's not just the cost of the machine, it's they're forming a relationship with the supplier. If they bought this one machine, maybe they plan to buy 5 more of them. If this one works out, they want to know that they're picking the right partner more so than buying the right machine. Because the machine is just a machine, but it's not worth anything unless they have the support and
connections.
The connection to the company and the support that, somebody they can call if it doesn't work. I mean, if they have this machine and they have a factory running and this machine stops working for an hour, that could be a problem. There's 100 people who are sitting there with nothing to do for that hour. If it stops for a day or 2 days, that could be, financially devastating to have the factory shut down. So, it's a very different sort of relationship between the supplier and the customer, more like a partnership. So, there I think you would, what you would want to do is be a good partner to the customers and have ways for them to contact people, on-site support if needed, and just sort of projecting an image of being of recognizing how important this machine is to the customer. Because if you're a factory and you're using this laser cutter to make parts, those parts are then going downstream and somebody is, I don't know, welding them together or painting them or assembling them, whatever. And if the cutting machine stops, then everything downstream stops. And and you want to have not just a machine, but a system behind the machine that keeps it running.
Yes, the customer, the company, what they really want is not only the machine, but also a series of support or after-sales service, kind of that, right?
I mean, what they want is the parts that come out of the machine. And that requires two things, both the machine and the fact that the machine is working and it's adjusted right and the parameters are good, and all that's what gets you the parts in the end, not just the machine. So they care about the whole system. And then there's also the question of the future, that if they buy this one machine, like if you're a factory, you don't want to have two machines from two different companies next to each other, because that's just twice as much training for operators and twice as many suppliers you need to, you want to have them all the same if possible. So like I say, when you're buying one machine, they're probably not thinking about, I'm buying this machine. They're thinking about, I'm picking this company as my supplier for laser cutters.
For a long-term relationship.
Yeah, for long-term, because when they need a second one, they're buying a second one from a different company. That would be like admitting failure, that we picked the wrong one this time and we're probably going to have to get rid of that one, because you don't want to do that. You want to pick the right one first, not just the right machine, but the right company that will continue being able to give you spare parts. If the machine breaks, you need a part. Is the company going to be there 5 years from now? So you want to feel like the company is a well-run company that is going to be around for a while.
Yes, exactly.
Does it have local on-site support? Does it have people you can call during business hours in whatever country you're in? Those sorts of things that surround the machine beyond just the machine itself.
Yes, it's quite crucial to have the local basement.
Right, local
center.
and personal connection, like feeling like I know who I'm buying this machine from.
Yes, it's quite familiar with the people who you're connecting, right?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so